Subnautica is an open-world survival action-adventure video game developed and published by Unknown Worlds Entertainment. Players are free to explore the ocean on the alien planet 4546b after their spaceship, the Aurora, crashes on the planet's surface. The player must collect resources and face creatures to survive. Subnautica was released in early access for Microsoft Windows in December 2014, Mac OS in June 2015, and for Xbox One in May 2016. It was released out of early access in January 2018 for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS, with versions for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 in December 2018. The physical console versions were published by Gearbox Publishing. The Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS versions were released in May 2021. By January 2020, more than 5 million copies had been sold. A sequel, Subnautica Below Zero, was released May 14th, 2021. Gameplay. Subnautica is a survival action-adventure game set in an open-world environment and played from a first-person perspective. The player controls the lone survivor of the Aurora, Riley Robinson, as he is stranded on a remote ocean planet named 4546b. The main objective is to explore the ocean and survive its dangers while completing tasks to advance the plot. Players can collect resources, construct tools, bases, and submersibles, and interact with the planet's wildlife. The majority of the game is set underwater with 2 explorable islands and a simulated day and night cycle that affects visibility. Upon beginning a new game, players must select a difficulty mode from the following 4. In survival mode, the player manages their depleting health, hunger, thirst, and oxygen. If the player dies, they respawn, but certain items are removed from their inventory. In freedom mode, gameplay is near identical to that of survival mode, but without hunger and thirst. In hardcore mode, gameplay includes permadeath. If the player dies, they do not respawn, and their save file is instead deleted. In creative mode, all depleting characteristics such as health and thirst are removed. All blueprints are unlocked, and the player can craft without needing resources. Additionally, the submersibles, a stasis rifle, a sea glide, a mobile vehicle bay, and a propulsion cannon are provided, which do not need an energy source to operate. The game supports VR headsets such as the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, with the additional input of a keyboard and mouse or game controller. Plot. Subnautica takes place in a distant future. The Aurora, a deep space vessel constructed by the Altera Corporation, has been sent to a system at the outer reaches of known space on its maiden voyage. Its primary mission is to build a section of high-speed space travel infrastructure known as a phase gate. However, its secondary mission, unknown to most of the crew, is to search for and possibly rescue the crew of a ship named the Degassi, which crashed on planet 4546b 10 years prior. As the Aurora enters the orbit of 4546b, it is attacked by a mysterious energy pulse and begins to crash land on the planet. Several crew members climb into escape pods, including Riley Robinson, the player character. The other life pod's inhabitants perish through various means, leaving Riley as the lone survivor. Riley finds records of the Degassi's crew stating that only 3 survived the initial crash, but later 2 of the 3 are confirmed dead and 1 is presumed dead. Riley also learns of the existence of the Precursors, an ancient, advanced alien species that came to planet 4546b approximately 1,000 years ago in search of a cure for a highly infectious disease known as the Carabacterium. precursors discovered Kara during the exploration of an unknown planet, and the disease spread due to a failure in quarantine procedures, killing over 140 billion individuals. Investigating thousands of planets in an attempt to find a cure, the precursors eventually located a species of organism on 4546b they named the Sea Emperor Leviathan, which produced an enzyme that could cure Kara. However, the only living Sea Emperor was too old to produce the enzyme in enough potency to have any effect, and the precursors were unable to force its only eggs to hatch. In an attempt to investigate the egg hatching process of the Sea Emperor, the precursors took the egg of a related species, the Sea Dragon Leviathan, but the mother destroyed a precursor research facility and inadvertently released samples of Kara into the planet's ecosystem. Forced to evacuate, the precursors enabled a facility known as the Quarantine Enforcement Platform, which consists of a large weapon that fires on any ships attempting to leave or land on the planet. It is discovered that this weapon caused the crash of the Degassi and the Aurora. The Sea Emperor, which seeks the freedom of her children, communicates telepathically with Riley and helps him discover the prison in which she is held captive. She gives Riley information on how to hatch her eggs, who does so and is cured by the enzyme produced by the juvenile Sea Emperors. Riley then disables the Quarantine Enforcement Platform, only achievable by one not infected with Kara, and constructs a rocket with blueprints found in the wreckage of the Aurora. After escaping the planet, the Sea Emperor communicates with Riley a final time, promising that the two go together, although they are different. Development. Subnautica was announced by Unknown Worlds Entertainment on December 17, 2013, with Charlie Cleveland as the director and lead gameplay programmer, and Hugh Jeremy as the producer. The music is composed by Simon Chilinsky. Cleveland was heavily inspired by Minecraft, which he noted transformed the game industry and threw away all traditional challenge-oriented and progression-oriented games. The release of Minecraft overlapped with Unknown Worlds, releasing Natural Selection 2. Feeling exhausted, the team wanted to try something new and decided to make such a game. Other influences included scuba diving, the filmography of James Cameron, and just the feeling of exploring the deep, dark, alternately beautiful and terrible ocean depths. Feeling like I'm an explorer, almost an astronaut, not knowing what I'll find. Cleveland did not initially view it as a survival game, but as an exploration game. Cleveland was also motivated by the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Frustrated by lack of progress made in the U.S. toward ending gun violence, Cleveland thought that he could do his part by making a non-violent game. As such, the development team opted against the inclusion of firearms in the game, with Cleveland describing the game as one vote towards a world with less guns, encouraging players to think about non-violent and more creative solutions to solve our problems. The development team opted to use the Unity engine rather than Spark, the engine used for the company's previous game, Natural Selection 2. Subnautica producer Hugh Jeremy justified this decision because of the different demands that the game places on the engine, and because the team does not include people working on Spark, it's not appropriate for Subnautica to use Spark. By using Unity for Subnautica, Spark can continue to develop in certain directions, while Subnautica develops in others. To use Spark for Subnautica would be like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. The game lacks traditional missions or quest structure usually found in video games. This was a deliberate choice, with Cleveland stating, with intrinsic rewards, people are instead encouraged to just do the activities for their own merit. Less people would be motivated to do it. But if they did get over that that learning period, they would get to the point where they internalized that activity as pleasurable on its own, and they would continue. Cleveland opted for this after reading an essay by Jamie Chang, who implemented a similar philosophy into his game, Don't Starve. Early access versions of Subnautica were released on Steam Early Access on December 16th, 2014, and on Xbox One preview on May 17th, 2016. During this initial release, the game featured no hunger or thirst mechanics. After receiving criticism, specifically from one player whose critique struck home for me, in quotes, the team opted to include such a system, eventually discovering that it helped players orient themselves to the early parts of the game. The full version of the game was released on January 23rd, 2018 for Windows and Mac OS personal computers, and on December 4th, 2018 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. The Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS versions of the game and sequel called Subnautica Below Zero were released on May 14th, 2021. Previously, Below Zero was released in early access on January 30th, 2019. Reception. Subnautica received positive pre-release reception. Ian Birnbaum of PC Gamer described Subnautica as an underwater Minecraft, remarking that with an experienced developer at the helm and a limitless variety of the oceans to play with, it's going to take a lot for Subnautica to go badly wrong. As the toolbox gets deeper and the shape of the endgame gets set, Subnautica will be a unique example of the ways survival can be tense, rewarding, and fun. Marsh Davies of Rock Paper Shotgun praised the rewarding nature of exploring the world of Subnautica, but criticized the arbitrariness and lack of intuition in some of the in-game recipes. At launch, the game received generally positive reviews on all platforms according to review aggregator Metacritic. Ben Yahtzee Croshaw on the Escapists Zero Punctuation series gave it a generally positive review, stating, "Underwater exploration is an inherently appealing concept. This whole new world rolling away before you, made all the more beautiful by its utter hostility." He criticized the game as a little unintuitive and not a little buggy. Croshaw would later list Subnautica as his second favorite game of 2018. By January 2020, more than 5.23 million copies had been sold across all platforms, not including free copies given as part of promotions. And we have several accolades and the notes and references, so that is the end of our Subnautica reading. Go ahead and leave any requests you may have. Draw me a like and subscribe, helps the algorithm, and let's go. I'll talk to you guys in the comments here in a second. Bye bye.